start, which was good.
Yeah, the best is still to come. Tony Thornton tonight. The best is still to come against Doug DeWitt. 12 rounds. The USBA middleweight championship is at stake. Al takes a look at the careers of both these fighters.
My viewpoint for Tony Thornton, I think he needs to start fast because Doug DeWitt often gets off to a very quick start, so Thornton's going to have to offset that. Working the body, you can work the body against DeWitt, especially on the inside, and I think that's what Tony Thornton's going to have to do to slow DeWitt down a little bit. For Doug DeWitt, his problem always is to keep his intensity throughout a fight. He cannot have the mental lapses that he's had in other fights, and he needs to throw combinations. When he is throwing combinations down to the body and the head, he is one of the most effective middleweights there is.
It should be a good one. Thornton is the first to arrive in the ring for the main event, and he promises this is the new and improved Tony Thornton we'll be seeing tonight. He admits that he's been a slow starter in the past. Now, you wouldn't know that by his record, which includes that his 17 victories, 16 knockouts. Draw is the only blemish on that record of his. So he's looking for power as the number 7th ranked man in the IBF. But his opponent, Doug DeWitt, has a world of experience as he makes his way into the ring now. He mentioned that he's fought Milt McCrory and Thomas Hearns. However, those were not winning efforts. But going the distance, certainly with Hearns, was an effort that earned him a lot of respect. He's been a fighter who's been up and down. He's perhaps a fighter who's an underachiever for the potential that is seen of him. But tonight he's got the steadying hand of Angelo Dundee working in the corner for him, and that can't really do anything but help. Let's go to the ring announcer now, Michael Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we get started, I would like to send a salute to a certain fighter who last week made boxing history. On behalf of Top Rank Boxing on ESPN and the King of Beers, Budweiser, we salute a gentleman who won his 4th world title in his many different divisions, 4 divisions. That's the hitman from the Motor City, Tommy Hearns, the WBC middleweight champion of the world. And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the Sands Hotel and Casino on the boardwalk in Atlantic City, New Jersey, let's get ready to rumble. 12 rounds for the vacant USBA middleweight championship. Representing the USBA here at ringside is Marion Muhammad. All the other officials shall remain the same. The referee for this bout is Joe O'Neill. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the blue trunks with white trim. He weighs an even 160 pounds. He's from Glassboro, New Jersey. And as a professional, an undefeated record, 17 victories, only 1 draw, 16 of those 17 victories by knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, the number 7th ranked fighter in the world, Tony Thornton. And fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the black trunks with white trim, also weighing in at 160 pounds, from Yonkers, New York. As a professional, 28 victories, only 5 defeats and 3 draws, 16 KOs, ranked number 6 in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, Doug the Cobra DeWitt.
You got your instructions in the back. Are there any questions at this time? Shake hands, come out boxing. Good luck.
What do you expect, Al? All-out war as we've seen in previous bouts tonight?
Yes, Tony Thornton, and there's Doug DeWitt with Angelo Dundee, who is in the corner with him for the first time. Asked to come in. He's not his longtime manager or trainer, but he's there to add little sage advice to the DeWitt corner, and I think it's going to be a very quick pace from the beginning.
Again, Thornton with 16 knockouts and his 17 victories. He has power to be respected.
I think from a skill standpoint, purely from a skill standpoint, Doug DeWitt has more skills. He's a more refined boxer when he wants to be. Has much more in the way of numbers and punches in his arsenal. But he doesn't always fight that way, and that's where the mystery comes in. And what Tony Thornton does have is very good power.
Well, DeWitt is more experienced in terms of number of bouts and caliber of opponent.
Yeah,
he brought Thornton along very slowly.
There's no question DeWitt is by far the toughest man Thornton has faced.
When Thornton's not doing this, he's delivering mail. He's a mailman in New Jersey.
And he recently tried out for a small role in Homeboy, which is a movie that Mickey Rourke is starring in. It's being shot in this area.
You could certainly give advice about roles like that.
After my many movie roles.
All one of them, right?
All two, actually, Don. Let's not be too cautious.
They are plural.
Just barely.
Good chopping right there by Thornton.
Good right by Thornton. He surprised McSwain when he knocked him down with the right hand. Because most people talk about the left hook of Thornton, but he's got power in the right. DeWitt going downstairs to the body. Now, the left hook of DeWitt is terrific, and there he doubles up with it.
So quick.
It's very quick, but he just doesn't use it all the time. There it is again. The elbow there by Thornton. Good right by DeWitt. What's missing right now from DeWitt's arsenal, and much like Lenny LaPaglia, who we saw, he's got a very good jab, but just doesn't use it that often.
Another good right from Thornton.
This crowd very much in Thornton's camp. Of course, he's from nearby. DeWitt from up in upper New York, upstate New York. So the crowd is definitely behind Thornton here.
Half a minute to go in the first round.
And it is a quick pace, just as we anticipated.
And Thornton intent on, as we said earlier, making it a quick pace, avoiding the slow starts that have plagued him in the past. So they are on their way en route to possibly 12 rounds to decide this USBA championship tonight. Stay with us.
Thornton with that little surprising right hand. That would nail the side of the head of Doug DeWitt. Takes a lot more than that, though, to hurt Doug DeWitt. He's got a good chin.
And the first piece of advice we heard, Angelo Dundee, it is to charge. He's got a good jab, use it more. And it's very quick, and he reps a couple of fast ones in there right at that point.
He said, have fun in there.
Yeah. Easy for him to say.
Yeah. DeWitt, a fighter who's always been renowned for his great chin. However, that reputation crumbled a bit when he was amazingly knocked out by Jose Quinones in February here in Atlantic City on ESPN, February 20th. A one right hand hit him right in the chin, and against LaPaglia, he was hurt. So in the last two fights, DeWitt's reputation for having an iron chin has been damaged a bit.
Yes, he has just 5 defeats, and that fight you talked about in February of this year was the first time he had been stopped.
First time knocked down, in fact. He's faced some big punchers in the middleweight division, too. Don Lee, who, while he's not the best middleweight in the world, is one of the best punching middleweights. Hit him with some tremendous shots and couldn't hurt him. And the draw that DeWitt had with him.
And perhaps the toughest opponent that Thornton has faced was McSwain in August at his last fight, and he had to settle for a draw there. In fact, he had to knock him down with a big knockdown in the 7th round to come back and get the draw.
They're both doing excellent body work. DeWitt was going to have to use the uppercut. Tony Thornton is doing a very good job of covering up against that left hook and landing his own as he did there. And if I would worry about one punch against DeWitt, it would be that left hook. Even though he's got other punches, that's the one that can really get you. Big right by Thornton over a lazy jab by DeWitt.
I'm sure Angelo will talk to DeWitt about that between rounds. Less than a minute to go in this, the second.
Right now, DeWitt does not look that sharp. The kind of fighter that can show you flashes of brilliance or be very ordinary. It just depends.
Most of the action of this stage coming from Thornton, the blue trunks. He jabs the right, another hook by Thornton as he digs the right and the left to the body.
And ironically, it's combinations coming from Thornton, not DeWitt. Remember we talked about DeWitt's hand speed and everything? Well, it's Thornton who's being quicker.
He's negated that hand speed right now.
Totally.
10 seconds to go in the second round. A good one for Tony Thornton. So if Thornton, as this round comes to a close, can sustain it, it'll be a very tough man for DeWitt to handle, as Doug goes back to his corner now for a word from his new handler, the veteran Angelo Dundee.
Okay. Now look, Doug. You got a box, go right. Box, go right. Don't go left. You hit him with second right-hand shots. In close, I want you to hit him with kidney shots, too. You're not throwing one kidney shot and come back with hooks. Okay? When the bell rings, don't stop. This bum hit you on the brakes. Okay? More guys in there. More water. Look at the back. Don't worry about the water. There it is. On me. Okay. There it is. Let's go to work. He ain't got enough. It's okay. Slip those punches. You're getting buttered by this guy, too.
Help Thornton in that last round using a variety of punches. The left uppercut on the inside. His attack is much more varied in this bout than we saw him against Stacy McSwain. There's the lead right hand getting in. Tough round for Doug DeWitt.
Third round.
Round 3 scheduled for a dozen USBA middleweight crowd at stake. Both ranked by the IBF in the top 10, numbers 6 and 7. DeWitt just ahead of Thornton. That's the division that is Frank Tate as the champion.
Tate beating Elijah Day, of course. Marvin Hagler being installed the #1 contender there, logically.
Very logically. Michael Nunn up there is number 3 in the IBF, and he's one to keep an eye on. I know Angelo Dundee feels he can be the best of them all. Let's see how you've scored this fight so far.
I've got Thornton winning the first 2 rounds. First one by a little bit and the second one more decisively. Nice short punches on the inside by Thornton, and just as I said, he lands a good short right hand. Tony Thornton went to school for this fight. He looked so much better in this fight than he did against McSwain. I mean, he's throwing short punches, covering up very well, fighting very well on the inside. This is the style Thornton needs if he's going to be a top middleweight.
He's using a complete arsenal of all the punches, and he works into the body, he brings to the head, he goes down to the body again, as he does there to try to wear his man down. Pounding with the left hand of the body. 2 of them.
DeWitt is fighting his fight. Doug DeWitt can fight inside or outside. We saw him against Mike Tinley several years ago, back in '84. Boxes well over 12 rounds as you can box against what was then a very slick Mike Tinley. He could do that a little bit here with Thornton, but he's choosing not to. Good hook by DeWitt, but doesn't faze Thornton.
Boy, he dug a couple of hard shots into the midsection of DeWitt. Now brings the right hook to the head.
Tony Thornton wants this fight badly. I'll tell you that right now. I don't know that he's going to win, but he is really fired up for this bout.
It means a great deal to both of them in terms of advancement for Thornton and maybe for survival in this division for Doug DeWitt, who you say has lost 3 or 4.
You know, you wonder, we talk a lot about Angelo Dundee being in the corner. How much rapport can you gain instantly with a man? Even though Dundee has a very good reputation and everything, Doug DeWitt is not known for dealing that well with his handlers, his trainers, managers. He's had a lot of trainers and managers in his career. Will he be able to absorb and accept what Angelo Dundee says, just working with him for the first time?
Well, it was his decision to bring him in.
Yes.
It would certainly behoove him to listen to the man, and if he can execute what Angelo advises, he should provide. But he's getting whipped here right now. Fired a couple of jabs off, but Thornton is stung him. pattern he established early, and a vicious left hook by Thornton comes on as DeWitt counterpunches. It's a brawl in the closing seconds of this third round.
Well, this is at the end of the last round, and Doug DeWitt and Thornton exchanged some unpleasantries, and DeWitt cuffed him on the head. Joe O'Neill warned both fighters, it's gotten a little wild here in Atlantic City.
Yeah, the feelings run pretty high. Dundee said to DeWitt in the corner, you've shown me nothing so far.
Right, that's right.
He admonished him strongly for the first time.
I don't think it's an overstatement to say that the next rounds of this fight, however many there are, could be the most important for Doug DeWitt that he's had, maybe ever, certainly in a long time. Because a loss here would be very difficult for him to overcome. Of course, we often say that, and fighters do come back and overcome them, but he's not the same Doug DeWitt we have seen in years past.
He's not getting there first, and yet he's always had quickness of hand. We haven't seen it since maybe in the first round tonight.
There,
now we're seeing, that's right.
Triple left hook, two to the body, one to the head. And what Dundee wants him to do is box in and out. There's the jab, and work sometimes in the inside and sometimes on the outside against Thornton.
Thornton's corner has told him to try to get inside and work there. But he's having trouble getting in now.
The other thing to remember about Tony Thornton is he faded in the later rounds against McSwain. And would he do the same here in a 12-round fight? He has never been 12. DeWitt has been 12, beating Tinley.
Just the once. But enough 10-rounders against the likes of McCrory or Burns. Yeah. Get him more than ready to go the distance here.
He performed well against Burns, even in losing.
But he's in against a very hard puncher in Tony Thornton, the Glasgow, New Jersey mailman. About a minute to go in the fourth round. It is scheduled for 12 for the USBA middleweight trial.
Thornton's jab much better than it was against McSwain, though we've seen it.
DeWitt's jab, which he has not thrown that often, has been quicker, but certainly Thornton's is the stronger of the two.
DeWitt wanting to hold on the inside, not work.
There's a hook that caught him square on the side of the jaw.
Doug DeWitt has reduced himself to a very one-dimensional fighter, only using a left hook, and Thornton's able to combat that.
Have a good right by Tony Thornton in the blue trunk. Now, even though he's on the ropes,
Step back.
a little work inside there until they're separated by Joe O'Neill. All misses by DeWitt. And a body shot by DeWitt. That's it for the fourth round. Stay with us.
Whether you're a collector of special edition knives or just looking for a top quality pocket knife, Hastings has a special offer just for you. Buy 2 Hastings oil or air filters.
The best there is.
And get this $30 value case commemorative knife for only $8.95. While you're at it, register to win a week of big game hunting in Montana or hundreds of other great prizes. Get your case knife and your Hastings filters today at leading...
Doug DeWitt, when he does this, is effective. There, now, one was blocked, but the second one got through, and then he doubles up with the left hook to the head. That's the Doug DeWitt game plan that works. However, Tony Thornton is getting the left hook in. Now, that didn't move DeWitt, but he has been stunned by a couple of shots.
Snap the jab.
Remember, Thornton has taken out 16 of 17, along with the draw with McSwain we've been talking about. It's the 5th round scheduled for a dozen.
Well, what's good about Tony Thornton tonight is not even that he's punching so much with power, which he obviously is, even though DeWitt is not being knocked down. It's that technically he is fighting a much better fight than we saw against McSwain, or probably than he has fought before.
Well, let's check your scorecard now and see how the viewers at home may compare with what you're feeling. With Thornton ahead by 4.
I've got him winning every round. Now, there might be a round or two in there you can give to DeWitt, but I just feel like he's done more.
And DeWitt certainly hasn't done enough with the skills he has.
Now, how much do matchups mean of previous opponents? Well, not so much when you consider that DeWitt beat Lenny LaPaglia. Lenny beat McSwain. McSwain drew with Thornton, and here's Thornton pretty much handling DeWitt right now.
Certainly see why Thornton has 16 knockouts. A couple of minutes to go here in this bruising 5th round.
The left hook of DeWitt is just not working. He's got to go to something else. Dundee wants him to jab and throw the right hand, and the uppercut would be a very important weapon for DeWitt. He's getting beaten on the inside, Doug DeWitt. He's usually a good inside fighter.
And Thornton's corner knows that. They keep insisting on Tony getting inside and try to keep the fight there.
However, I think if DeWitt can take this fight into the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th round, he's still got a good shot no matter how far he gets behind, because I believe he might do well in those rounds. And Thornton's staying power may be in question. We'll see.
Been loading some wicked shots here in this 5th round.
That's if DeWitt gets it there.
A minute to go in the 5th. Thornton has gone 10 rounds twice, 8 rounds on one occasion, but if you look down his record, there are a lot of 1s and 2s in there, early knockouts. So again, the stamina question could surface, and could be a real one.
Tony Thornton promised us that he knew and improved Thornton, and that is exactly what he's been. Give him credit. He is fighting a very, very good fight.
And again, you see DeWitt using the left hand effectively enough, but unable or unwilling to follow with a good right to make the combination pay off.
Thornton's not letting him tie him up on the inside either. He is pushing DeWitt away and working hard to the body. Look at him. Wonderful effort on the inside by Thornton.
That's a very hungry fighter. A man who wants to seize the opportunity that he has tonight. DeWitt with the left hand got a couple of good shots here. 10 seconds to go in the 5th round.
Lay on him. Get off.
DeWitt complaining about the use of the head by Thornton.
And there's that low head coming in. He greets it with a combination at the bell to end the 5th round. Much more to come. Stay with us.
Don't fight with the referee. The eye is bad. Box, box, box. I went, go to the side. Who's telling you to stay away from the butt? Go to the side. And how about this right hand in here? Now go right out. Take a dip and hit it with a sucker right hand. Go to the right.
You get the feeling Angelo's getting a little frustrated with DeWitt because Thornton has done a tattoo job on him. As you see right here.
Yeah, DeWitt moving straight back. DeWitt worried about the butts, and what Angelo Dundee's telling him is move side to side. You won't get butted.
And then he asked the question, where's the right hand? That's what we've been asking about, too, from DeWitt.
Well, it hasn't been there. He has really made himself a one-dimensional fighter with the left hook.
There's a couple of jabs, a couple that come up short, but nothing else to accompany it. He is moving decently in the ring. But as you say, he's a one-armed fighter at this stage. He bangs the right hand, leading with it to the body of Thornton. In that McSwain bout, Thornton was plagued with a very sore right hand. The left hand actually was the worst. It swelled by about 50%. So his corner is intent on watching that, but there's no sign that he has any trouble whatsoever with either hand at this point.
No, he's been throwing both with impunity, and I'll tell you, he's not holding back at all. He is fighting at a very quick pace, though. And again, the question has to be asked how that's going to affect him. But if he's in good shape, and boy, he has looked so far, Doug DeWitt is in for some more trouble the rest of this bout.
Well, DeWitt's task is that of the survivor until the stage that maybe stamina will take over.
Here's the right by DeWitt missing. Let's give Tony Thornton some defensive credit. He has done a very good job defensively. That's been what's frustrated DeWitt. DeWitt's having a hard time hitting him.
All with the left hand.
Now DeWitt's starting to get that jab in a little bit, though.
Break, step back, nice and clean.
Big hook by DeWitt. That was his best punch of the fight, and it hurt Thornton.
So they slowed him down.
He's got Thornton a little rubbery. bought some time there and maybe out of the woods. Now DeWitt realized just how badly he had Thornton hurt.
He's not given him the right hand since. Oh, good left.
Strong jab. There's an example of DeWitt's jab. This is the best sequence of the fight for DeWitt. I think Thornton was really stunned. Look, DeWitt's boxing him a little bit and being effective here.
Well, Thornton looks to have certainly recovered now. Halfway mark of the fight. The sixth round is over.
Tell you what, mark that down, though. That could have been a very significant minute and a half of this fight.
All right, you've got to keep the head moving. You're staying too still with
In terms of the endurance factor for Thornton that we've talked about so often, it is just his 19th professional fight.
His left hand is looped.
I'd like to remind everybody
Ready for a loop.
It's
there. Drop it over.
Tonight. We will have another bout after this main event.
Make sure that it's the right time. But he's dropping it. He's bringing it down into here. So let the right hand go right over top of it. But you got to move. When you back up, you got to back up side to side. Okay. All right. Back straight up. Huh? Right. Straight line. You got to double up inside. All right. You fight these last 6 rounds like you just fought these other ones. You're going to be USBA champ. Is that what you worked for all this time? All right. You got to dig deep.
They're asking Tony Thornton to dig deep. There was a good short left hand by Doug DeWitt, and that definitely stunned Tony Thornton and turned that round around. Will it turn the fight around? We'll see.
Here's round 7. Good opening left shot by Thornton.
Thornton wants to answer no to that, huh?
Yeah.
The last round I gave to Doug DeWitt, the first one I had given him in this fight, set him behind 59-55. Of course, it's a 12-rounder, so he's got some time. And I'll tell you, the swelling around the right eye of Tony Thornton is starting to become a little bit of a factor. Eddie Aliano putting on end swell on it, but it's swelling up badly.
That eye is closing rapidly.
Now, explain to me why DeWitt would be so tentative here in this 7th round after he had Thornton in some trouble and had his best round of the fight in the 6th.
He didn't really finish him off for the seconds he had remaining, and he had sufficient to do so in the last round. He didn't really take it to him. As you say, maybe he didn't realize he strung him.
Jab of DeWitt starting to get in a little bit more. He's looking at that eye of Thornton.
Angelo Dundee said before the fight he thinks that DeWitt has the skills to beat Thornton. He just hasn't shown all his skills for the stage.
I think Tony Thornton's slowing down now. Remember I said that around the 7th, 8th round he would slow? I think he is starting to slow a little bit. Whether DeWitt can take advantage of that remains to be seen. Yeah. Thornton is coming in in a much more upright posture, Don, and not covering up as well as he did earlier in this fight.
So perhaps slowly we are seeing things turn here. Events turn in the favor of DeWitt. But still, Thornton can really hurt you. Apart from the draw, the only opponent that Thornton did not knock out was way back in early '85. Jerome Johnson, 8-round decision here in Atlantic City.
That's it. Thornton continues to work that body of Doug DeWitt. They're both good body punches.
But you're right about a big knockout fighter in the late rounds, especially when his knockouts have come as early as Thornton's had. You really have to wonder about it, but he digs both hands to the body here.
He's still pushing. We talked about the want, and he wants this fight very badly. This is a round Doug DeWitt might have won, but Tony Thornton's out hustling him now, or trying to. Just with sheer numbers of punches.
Got a second win late in this round, now with just 10 seconds remaining in the 7th. That eye very puffy, closing rapidly. The right eye of Tony Thornton. So DeWitt had him for a while on the run, but Thornton came back late in that round. Stay with us.
All right, everybody's out. Last one out. Wipe up the corner.
Thornton
Last one out.
has landed a lot.
8th round.
There's the good left jab by Tony Thornton. That was at the beginning of the round.
A couple of quick jabs here to get this 8th round underway. Tough round to score that last one, the way Thornton came back. But you give it to him by 5 points.
I gave it to Thornton in the last round, and some may quarrel with the decisiveness of that score right now. But I tell you, I just can't give those rounds to Doug DeWitt. I don't feel like he's done enough. I given him 1 round in this fight.
Well, it is getting late. It is the 8th round, and while he did seem to slow a bit in the 7th, Thornton looks to have plenty of fuel in the tank right now.
Well, and Doug didn't take advantage of that. Tony was able to out-hustle him, I thought, in that round.
And that has been the rap against DeWitt, that he has been an underachiever and not, lately at least, utilizing all his skills. And he has abundant skills. Now, there are about 4 or 5 jabs. Nothing else. There's the right finally getting through.
See, that's what Dundee has wanted from him. Oh, good shots by Thornton. Set up the jab, then come with the right hand for DeWitt. His left hook is not going to get there against Thornton right now, so he's got to go with what could work.
But after doing all that, as you pointed out, a wicked left hand from Thornton at the end of that exchange. Halfway through the 8th round.
Break, step back, step back. Break, step back.
Uppercut as Thornton came in low.
Why DeWitt is so intent on holding on the inside when he's got a chance to work, I don't know, because he's not giving himself a chance to land punches on the inside.
Minutes to go on the round. You saw 3 jabs from DeWitt and nothing to follow.
Very, very close round here, though. But DeWitt needs these kinds of rounds badly.
Break.
And a few of them.
Yeah, unless he's absolutely confident he can get a knockout in his later rounds. DeWitt holding on the inside. Ooh, very low by
Very low, the left hand by Thornton.
First time really that has happened, though, so I don't think it was intentional.
Thornton has been so effective with either hand tonight.
Break.
The left in particular. Just a few seconds left down the 8th round scheduled for 12.
Used the jab very effectively. That one, he pushed DeWitt back with it. And DeWitt's supposed to have a better jab, but nobody told Tony Thornton his has been excellent in this bout.
He has shown himself to be a very complete fighter. And as a result, got himself a handsome lead in your book, Al.
Still got him ahead by 5 points. And as you said, time may be running out for Doug DeWitt.
A third of the fight remains. And no sign of Thornton slowing down a bit. Back in the 6th round, looked like he might be tiring ever so slightly. But he got a second win and has been strong ever since.
Still swelling on the right eye, but it doesn't seem to be bothering him that much. There's the hook getting in by DeWitt and the jab. Doug DeWitt looking down here at us.
We can't help him.
No, but it's interesting, you know, Doug is a very intelligent, interesting man to talk to. But it's his concentration that sometimes is lacking in the ring, and even he admits that. Why, I don't know. I mean, everyone agrees that he's a delight to be around. The problem is that somehow he doesn't translate his ability into being a world-class fighter all the time.
Good jab and a following left hook from Thornton.
Thornton is standing straight up a lot more now, and I do think Thornton has slowed down a bit. Can DeWitt take advantage of it? That's the question. He wants to right now. He knows it. DeWitt knows right now Tony Thornton's tired. This is his moment. And we're in the 9th, just about the time when you might expect Tony Thornton to need some more energy.
DeWitt begins to stalk him for the first time really in this bout. And he's effectively scoring with both hands. The left in particular with a minute to go still for Thornton to get out of this round.
Doug understands that right now the fight's in front of him. He's got to do something dramatic here and keep Thornton on the run, which he's doing.
He's doing a pretty fair job of starting to turn this fight around. Thornton is pawing at him now. He is tired.
Wild right by DeWitt. That's not the way to get it done, but it's tempting. Blood coming from the nose and the mouth of Thornton.
This is unquestionably, with the left scoring again, the uppercut of the right hand, the best round of the entire night for Doug DeWitt.
The only one that even rivals it was the sixth, and this one's certainly a lot better than that.
Now, the questions remain, can he sustain it, and can Thornton get another second win with 3 rounds to go?
You got him now.
Interesting matchup here. The USBA middleweight crowd on the line. Let's go to the corner in Dundee with DeWitt.
The guy's got a broken nose. You know what I mean? The guy's got a broken nose. Understand me? The guy has a broken nose. Understand? Keep the pressure going. Go first. Hear me?
Okay, you gotta turn around. You gotta
Eddie, move over a little bit. Let the doc in.
Let's take a look back. Remember what we said at the beginning of this bout, keys to victory. Well, Tony Thornton did do both those things. He started quick and he did work the body. DeWitt has not kept his intensity throughout, but he's getting it back now, and he really hasn't thrown combinations. That's why Thornton's ahead. But what isn't in there is the question of stamina for Tony Thornton and DeWitt's ability to go the distance. Now, those are coming into play now. So if you took those keys over the first 8 rounds, you'd say fine for Thornton. But now we're heading into another phase in this fight.
And Thornton used every last available second to him on that stool. Angelo Dundee, you heard him tell DeWitt, Thornton's nose is broken. And that's going to cause him some problems over these final 3 rounds. So there's no question that DeWitt senses he can turn it around here, but he has to be very impressive, having looked at the possible points he lost earlier. Thornton, though, still fighting with a lot of heart.
Thornton coming forward, maybe an act of machismo just to show DeWitt he's there.
He catches jabs as he does, and the right hand from DeWitt.
And now the combinations are there for Doug DeWitt. He knows that Thornton's tired, and there's the right again. And the reason he's landing now and he wasn't earlier, Don, is because Thornton's coming in standing a lot straighter up, not holding his hands as high, and not doing as good a defensive job.
He is really, DeWitt, facing a different fighter at this stage than the buzzsaw he saw earlier.
But the way I look at it, and I may be wrong depending on the scoring, I think Doug DeWitt has 3 rounds in which to either knock Thornton out or get a couple of knockdowns so he can have some key 2 or 3 point rounds. I don't know if it will do just to win these last 2 rounds for DeWitt. Maybe it will, but I don't know.
He may need something very impressive.
See that wild left hook by Thornton, a good indication of how he's tired.
Well, you called it out earlier. You said 6th, 7th round look out. We saw a sign of the bend, but it's really manifesting itself now, the fatigue in Thornton. He's catching so much more. There's a good chopping right by DeWitt.
DeWitt with those short punches is hurting Thornton. The left eye is swollen the right eye is swollen for Thornton. Tremendous jab by DeWitt.
The left hand came powering through with a little over a minute to go in the 10th round. Still 2 rounds to go after this. The left again scores. That wasn't happening earlier.
Pounding on that nose that Angelo Dundee is so convinced is broken. It may or may not be, but it's bleeding and there's a problem for Thornton.
I tell you, Angie's seen a lot of noses over the years. He's probably right. Even from across the ring.
Well, this has all the earmarks of the fight that DeWitt had with LaPaglia, a war. Thornton is walking into the jab and a straight right hand. DeWitt can land that almost at will now.
You mentioned DeWitt's concentration. He paused there at the end of that exchange and winked to somebody at ringside. It wasn't you, by the way.
Good body work by DeWitt. The crowd now into it on the side of Thornton.
But they are cheering on a fading fighter. How much does Thornton have left to ward off the late rally by Doug DeWitt? There's a good right by DeWitt as he caught him low. Thornton was coming in. And the 10th round is over. They've got a pair to go.
Just another in a series of really excellent middleweight matchups we've had.
You can give me
Listen
6
in.
hard minutes. You've got to be the USBA champion. He can't take away whether you're fighting Doug DeWitt and the referee or not. You've got to get out there and win it, Tony, because the referee's not giving you nothing. He's letting him pull your head down, do anything you want. You've got to win it. All right, you're fighting 2 people. So how much heart have you got? I got to see how much heart you got.
Come on, baby. Let's win this thing. Let's
If you get it bad enough, you've got to go out. Come on.
Now in DeWitt's corner.
Roll hard. Quick punching. Yes?
Let's get off first.
To the master head. Son, we need these 2 rounds big. I can use a knockdown. I can use a knockdown. Believe
Watch this jab by DeWitt.
Busy. His left uppercut.
Oh, strong jab right to the nose of Thornton, and just missed with the right hand. This is what they wanted from him earlier. Now it's working.
That nose wasn't broken before. It sure might be now.
Not kind words in the corner of this man for referee Joe O'Neill, who they feel is allowing a lot of holding and pushing the head of Thornton to go on with DeWitt. I've got it. Excuse me, Don. I've got it closing the gap a little bit. I've got DeWitt now behind 97-94. 2 rounds left. But remember, if you take 1 or 2 of those rounds away that I gave to DeWitt, this could be a very close fight. Good left hook by DeWitt.
And yet we heard Dundee in the corner almost echo what you said before. He told his fighter, we need a knockdown here in these last 2 rounds. So he probably feels it has to be something dramatic to catch the judge's eye and turn it into DeWitt's favor.
I think he feels he's scoring something like what I have, if not, maybe if he only has 2 points down.
The last 2 rounds have been DeWitt's. Not much before.
Look at Thornton. He's so off balance and tired. Totally different fighter than he was in the earlier rounds.
Well, the nose is broken. He's got to be tough on his breathing. Got to affect him in a lot of ways. The right eye has been closing rapidly. They've done a good job of keeping it where it was. And he's also running out of steam, but he's got all the heart in the world here as he comes after DeWitt with a chopping right hand against the ropes.
Right now, the game plan for DeWitt, I think, is just use that jab and the straight right hand. Thornton is there for those punches. Good jabs on the inside by DeWitt.
About a minute to go on the 11th round.
DeWitt should be jabbing his way in. Kind of holding by DeWitt. Thornton upset. Joe O'Neill gives him a little warning. There's the jab. When he uses it, DeWitt is so effective.
Wasn't able to follow.
Doug's probably winning this round again, but would winning all these rounds win him the fight at this point? It's just hard to tell. We could easily, if DeWitt wins this round and the next one, which is not out of the question, we could easily be looking at a draw. Oh, good hook by DeWitt.
That hurt him.
Break, step back.
Could be a draw, could be a very close victory for Thornton the way it stands right now, barring something dramatic on DeWitt's part. He's scoring liberally now.
Give Thornton credit, though. He is hanging in there tough.
And he really wants this one. His corner has reminded him of that several times. He's got a round to go. And the onus is on DeWitt to sustain what he's built over the last 3 rounds, and on Thornton to just survive as well as he did in that last round. He may be able to get a close win. Let's go to the corners now.
Come here, put your head down. Put your head down, son. All right, now you want some of the water? Open your mouth. Doug, you know what I want? I want this round big, son. Get me. If you give me a knockdown, I love you. Give me got the grease? Come on. Grease, baby. Now look, this is the last round. There ain't no more. Don't save nothing for me. Don't bring it down to the dressing room. Let it all hang out. I want 1,000,000 punches this
You're
round.
in good shape, Doug. Give it all you got now. You hear me?
Okay, son?
Last round's coming up. Let's go. Give it out. Okay, give it all you got.
It's okay. We're going to do it? Yeah. We'll do it. Don't. When he drinks, push it slide off. And jumping.
DeWitt using the short punches on the inside very effectively, the left hand, and that's what Tony Thornton has been facing in the last several rounds. It's all on the line now.
They touch gloves at the 12th and final round. You saw Thornton very slowly get off the stool while DeWitt was on his feet and ready to go.
We've watched so many fighters in the last few months in the middle or lower echelon of the top 10 in the middleweight division. We've seen, there's my scoring. Tony Thornton, I've got him ahead by 2 points. It could be closer than that. We saw Darnell Knox and Alex Ramos in a war out west. We've seen LaPaglia and DeWitt. We've seen McSwain and Thornton, McSwain and LaPaglia. All these middleweights jockeying for position in really exciting fights, and we've got yet another one here.
It is the most competitive division by far.
Oh, very much so. And a lot of other middleweights like Tate and Barkley, and who we also had. I neglected Barkley and Colombe. And Michael Lajide and Tate fought for the title. It's a division that is filled with boxers who are very even in ability.
Then you have the spectators, the Haglers, and the Leonards.
And the gentleman you mentioned, Michael Nunn, who so far has risen above these guys and is still undefeated, waiting for his title shot. Good right by Tony Thornton. I mean, I think Thornton ran out of gas 3 rounds ago, and but he's staying in there on will and the conditioning he did have, obviously.
He's fighting a very decent 12th round.
Yes.
And he's taking away the momentum that DeWitt compiled over the previous 3 or 4. And that could be the difference in this fight, at least between a close decision or a draw.
And the crowd chanting Tony, trying to urge him on.
Now DeWitt scoring with both hands.
Good shots on the inside.
Just over a minute remaining. This could be the most telling minute of the entire bout. He hurt him. Blood all over the face of Thornton as he takes another vicious left hand from Doug DeWitt. He's doing his utmost to get that big knockdown or knockout that Dundee urged him to.
I tell you, he had Thornton in trouble there. Right now, it's not an overstatement to say this minute is most important maybe in DeWitt's career. He's got to go for everything.
It was like a thoroughbred coming down the stretch from off the pace, but closing rapidly. Can he reach the line in time?
Looks like that 800 runner Dave Waddle. Remember him? He was always way behind. Or James Robinson had come back, but it wasn't always enough. And in this case, it might not be enough for DeWitt.
Doug impersonating Silky Sullivan of this one, but he gets some vicious blows off. He's hurt him now as he comes in. He's holding on to him, Thornton. And just a second or two to go in the spot. There it is. What a big round for both men. They battle right down to the final bell in the 12th round, but some very big late damage scored by DeWitt, and yet he failed to get that knockdown that might have been so important in the outcome of this bout.
Thornton sitting on his stool, exhausted. DeWitt has more left, but there is no 13th round, okay? And as Angelo Dundee said to him, now, I don't know why Joe O'Neill's so insistent on DeWitt sitting down. That doesn't make any sense. Why can't he walk around the ring?
I don't know why not.
You do it after most fights. Well, I don't know. Anyway, that man, Doug DeWitt, came on with a rush, but did he do it quick enough? I don't think so. I have Thornton a 1-point winner in this fight, 115 to 114. But, of course, that's so close, it could go either way.
But at one point, you had him a 5-point winner.
That's right.
That's the kind of gap that DeWitt closed in the late going.
I gave DeWitt the last 4 rounds.
I would agree with you.
A lot at stake. You mentioned it. DeWitt ranked 6th by the IBF. Thornton ranked 7th. The winner of this fight moves up, and the loser is going to have a problem staying in contention.
Well, I think if it's DeWitt, it'll be more of a problem maybe than Thornton.
That's right. Thornton is yet to be tested against as many big fighters. DeWitt at this point is considered maybe kind of a retread if he loses.
If Thornton should lose, it'll be just his first defeat. He is 17-0 and a draw. And he took some wicked shots in the closing few seconds. He almost went down. I thought he was going here at this stage.
Boy, and if that right hand had gotten there, it might have been a problem.
But he had heart, he had stamina, even though he slowed demonstrably over the final third of the fight. The early lead might be enough to give Thornton the win. Let's go to the ring now and get the decision from Michael Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please. At the end of 12 rounds, the bout is a draw under the rules of the USBA and approved by the New Jersey State Athletic Control Board. We go to a 13th and deciding round.
a USBA rule allows for there to be an extra round in the case of a draw.
Isn't this interesting? You're going into sudden death overtime here. And that's the last thing that Thornton bargained for. He is exhausted. If you're a betting man, you got to go to the window and put $2 on DeWitt right here. Unless Thornton comes up with something very remarkable.
We've had this in our ESPN tournament. They can't find the mouthpiece of Tony Thornton.
So they call time until they find it, and those extra few seconds will certainly help him.
Nobody anticipated this, and that's why Joe O'Neill wanted Doug DeWitt to go over to his corner and sit down. He anticipated the possibility of a 13th round. Well, Tony Thornton coming out strong, but how much does he have left?
I have never seen this before. I'm not sure many of our viewers have.
I have not.
To an extra round.
I've not seen it in the USBA bout. I have seen it in our ESPN tournament where there was the rule. Oh, and you see DeWitt, you talked about it. He is strong here. You know what, though? Tony Thornton, you can still see the desire. He is trying very hard. He just doesn't have as much left.
Oh, he wants it. He hasn't got the tools left to get it.
A remarkable story tonight.
It really is. Thornton may be wishing the rules were different. He'd just as soon settle for the draw at this stage. Because unless he comes up, and he does here with a good combination, very big in this round, it's going to be something to pass DeWitt at this stage, given the stamina and what's left for both fighters. DeWitt is hitting him everywhere and from every direction with both hands. Battering him as he comes in. A very tired Thornton, exhausted Thornton, simply hanging on as long as he can.
DeWitt also tired, but has more left to throw those counter punches.
Much more.
There's the good right. That hurt Thornton. That's a good jab.
Head went down. Here's the left to follow. He's got him in trouble now.
What a comeback by Doug DeWitt.
You talked about the analogy with the racehorses. He's like Silky Sullivan, coming from way back in the pack to this 13th and extra round overtime to decide the USBA middleweight title. That is a rule that is peculiar to the USBA to determine a title in the event of a draw after 12, and that's what we have here with now a minute to go in overtime. Crowd here urging Tony Thornton on. He's from nearby Glasgow, New Jersey. He's showing a tremendous amount of heart. But you really don't have to be a veteran boxing judge to score the last few rounds, and certainly this one.
And I'll tell you, it looks as if Doug DeWitt will cap a tremendous comeback. The Breeders' Crown is next here on ESPN. We'd love to be able to have a chance to talk to Doug DeWitt. We need to get off the air when this ends, though, so we won't have a chance to bring you comments by Doug DeWitt. Maybe we can give them to you next week, but tell you what, if he does win this fight, as it looks like he's going to, it will cap a tremendous comeback by him.
He's been battering the game, Tony Thornton, throughout the round. The extra round comes to an end. Stay with us. But two decisions to be rendered tonight. First, the draw, and then the outcome of this 13th round to be given to us in just a moment or two. We'll have that decision for you just seconds from now. Dundee there with DeWitt. What a comeback he staged in the late going here tonight. Top Rank Boxing tonight has been brought to you by Budweiser. Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. And by Spidell. No one attaches more importance to your watch. A 13th round to decide it. DeWitt still pacing around the ring like a young colt by comparison to the exhaustion that you can just tell by looking at Tony Thornton over there having his gloves taken off.
Well, now they're spending some time on these cards. It would be very difficult to imagine that the judges didn't all give that round. There's Michael Buffer getting ready to get the cards. That the judges didn't all give that round to Doug DeWitt, I'd be pretty surprised.
But you're right, it's taking an unusually long time.
Presumably, no matter how the draw came out, even if it was you know, one for one guy, one for another, and one a draw. If all three judges gave DeWitt that last round, you know he's got to be the winner.
All right, we'll find out right now. Let's go to the ring. Michael Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, here are the 13-round totals. Judge Charlie Spina scores the bout 124-124, still a draw. Tommy Kazmarek has it 125-123, and Eugene Grant scores it 124-123 for the winner, who is now the USBA middleweight champion, Doug Cobra DeWitt.